do that one more time. Hi, everybody. Now with audio on YouTube. Thank you in the chat for letting me know that. All right, here we go. Now we are rocking and rolling. Okay. Telling you, technology keeps me on my toes all the time. So, welcome to our monthly live stream where demonstrate tips with Celli, tips and tricks. We answer your questions, whether it's about something you're practicing, something in the music industry. Celli and I might do a little serenade. Whatever you need help with, this is your chance to ask and get customized tips. So I'm just going to check out, put you over there for a sec, Instagram. All right, looking good. Okay, awesome. So, fantastic to see all of you here. What I was saying before, at least here in the US, next week is Thanksgiving. So I know a lot of people might be traveling for the holiday and spending it with family. So we are doing the stream a week early. Yes. So in advance, for those of you who celebrate, happy Thanksgiving. If you don't celebrate, hope there's something that you are very grateful for that comes your way next week. Yes. Cool. So I'm just going to fix the angle. Hello. Wow, we have someone tuning in from Brazil. Hello. So nice to see you. Thank you for coming. What I've been working on a lot with both myself and students, we've been working a lot on Bach recently. So I don't know if any of you are studying Bach or have any questions about Bach. We can most certainly cover that. Open to covering anything though, of course. And, Bach Sarabande 5. You know, I mentioned, wait, no, I do have Bach right here. Bach Sarabande 5. Wait, 5, okay. Bach Sarabande 5. Didn't mean to sound like 5. There's nothing wrong with 5. I thought you meant 6. And there's nothing wrong with 6. It's just a little challenging. So, something... Yeah, the Bach... I mean, all the Sarabandes are beautiful. Wow. Oh, what a beautiful way to phrase a question. So, about the Fifth Suite Sarabande. So sparse, short, and ethereal, yet immensely deep. That's a beautiful way to say it. Absolutely. What would be your tips to play it and give it soul and substance? Thank you so much. Sure. So one general tip for Bach's Sarabandes, and for those who might not know, we have the prelude, and then all the movements after are based off of a dance. Like how I'm having a little pokey out dancing behind my head. That's not what I had intended. So the Sarabande is a dance, I believe, originating from Spain. And one thing that's very interesting, it's a dance that's in 3. And we often think of a waltz where we have this boom, chuck, chuck, boom, chuck, chuck, boom, chuck, chuck kind of rhythm. Something like... That's kind of what we think of when we think of a waltz. And a waltz has a very big 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But a Sarabande, the emphasis is on beat 2, which is something we're not always used to. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And it's also very slow. So it's going to be more like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So keeping that in the back of your mind is going to, hello on YouTube. That is really going to give the Sarabande momentum. So I know we're talking about ethereal and soul, really speaking to your soul. Then, wow, this chat is hopping on YouTube. I like it when you all talk to one another. That's really fun. So with the Sarabande, you have to put the emphasis on beat 2, and if you don't do that, then what is going to happen is it's going to drag. If we don't put the emphasis on beat 2, it is going to really, really drag. So really feeling that momentum on beat 2 and really picking your phrasing very deliberately. You have to come down very, very low. And that's what I think really gets the ethereal quality, is how quiet and how soft can you do that? How soft and quiet can you really make this piece? And I don't think this Sarabande is very extroverted. It's a very introverted type of piece. So really picking those high, loud, climactic moments, really, I would limit it a little bit. Sorry, we have some puppers outside, so if you hear something, cute little puppies. Also, thank you so much to Bob for buying a badge on the Instagram live stream. Thank you so much. It's very generous. Thank you. So let's start. Enough talking. Let's get to playing. So one other thing I would do is play the melodic voice, which is the top voice. Only do the top voice first so that we can really hear how the melody goes. If you try, which Sarabande are we talking about? Of course, the 5th suite, my friend. The 5th suite of Bach. 5th. C minor. So I would not play the chords because that's a lot of management for now, and it might mess up with the flow of the melody. So let's just start with the melody on the A string. Well, it starts on the A string. You'll see it moves around. As the first 8 bars. And we have this really cool moment where the melody comes down to an open D. But we get a new melody on top for the second phrase. So there's this really cool moment where the melody comes down and becomes the accompaniment for a second melody. So that's really something to especially bring out. So I would start big, soft, and I would roll it a little bit to do that. Roll the chord a little bit. You could do it like this. You could do that. You could go right into the double stop. But I think if we linger on the open D a little bit, it's going to make that connection a little more obvious, I think. And then we go on for the new melody. That was a little tip for my previous teacher. He would always kind of roll these figures in Bach rather than landing on a solid double stop. So one thing that I I would try, we're still going to keep with the melody, and we're going to kind of vocalize our intention and then the technique we are going to use. So 2 goals. What's your intention, and what are you going to do specifically with the bow? Because the bow gives us a lot of our expression. Yes, we have vibrato, but there's so much we can do with the bow that we should do with the bow. So I'm going to start soft, growing into the second beat of bar 2. So growing, more speed. Then I fade for the reply. Question. Okay. Oh, question from YouTube. Who was your teacher? My teacher was Yehuda Hanani. He currently is on faculty. Oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing. This is not, guys, I'm playing the wrong Sarabande. You asked for the 5th suite. I'm playing the 4th suite. Oh my god. Anyways. Damn it! Because, you know, oh my god, they have the same key signature, but they're different keys. One is the relative major, one is the relative minor. They both have 3 flats. Well, thank you. I really want to answer your question. Oh my gosh. It's been a long day, y'all. Anyways, teacher, Yehuda Hanani, currently on faculty at Manus. So that's who my last teacher was at the Manus Conservatory in New York. That I say as I play the wrong movement. Y'all. Okay. We're going to go on. But that's a little preview of the 4th Street Sarabande. See? Instagram versus reality. You're seeing reality on Instagram. Sometimes we just play the wrong movement of things and it just happens. And then you pick it up and you move on. Maybe. Okay, 5th suite. Let's go. Oh, this one is, oh my gosh. This is so embarrassing, guys, because this is like one of my favorite Sarabandes. Okay. So, now that we're all on the same page, you all, oh, very cool. Thank you for sharing your teacher, Christopher Bunting. Wonderful. I love meeting fellow cellists on my live stream. Thank you for watching. Okay, you all are on the same page. I had to catch up. My apologies. Now that we're on the same Sarabande, this Sarabande is honestly one of the most profound. And what's really hard about this one is there's not a lot of rhythmic variety. You have 4 eighth notes and a quarter note. 1 and 2 and 3. Again, 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. We have a lot of combinations of eighth notes and a quarter note, or all eighth notes. So, what I really like to do with something like this, you still want to keep the emphasis on beat 2. This is still a Sarabande. Regardless of what I said earlier, everything about the Sarabande is still the same. You want to emphasize beat 2. Do not do this to this beautiful Sarabande. Don't kick beat 3. Do you know orchestra excerpts? Yes, I do. I will see what I have handy, but feel free to, yes, put in some excerpts into the chat. It's been a minute, but I I took an orchestra excerpt class in college. A lot of fun stories from that. So, but yes, so you really, the Sarabande, you really got to work for this one. So I saved my bow. That. So that's what I'm doing. I'm saving. Again. So you really have to save your bow for the first 2/8 notes, lean into the third one. So now this piece is like a lot of Bach is 4-bar phrases. Oh, great. Oh, all right. You guys are going to really make me earn my keep here. Lots of orchestral excerpts requests today. We could do a little excerpt class today. That's fine. That's fine with me. I might have to go find my excerpt book. So we'll do that. Don't worry. So when you have these figures, you really have to look in every 4 bars and again find that top of the phrase. But you know, by top of the phrase, I don't mean everything has to be forte. You just have to have a destination for your notes so that we can flow along, keep our momentum. And a lot of times your cue is register when the notes are rising or falling. Usually when they're rising is a good indication that we're going to have a peak, we're going to have a bigger moment. So in our first 4 bars of the Sarabande, we arrive at a D, a high D in bar 3. So I really like to think of, we have this flowing pattern. Bar 1 is, well, maybe this is the answer. This could be the answer in bar 2. No, this is the answer in bar 3. And then I reflect on the answer in bar 4. So you have a question, big answer, reflection. So let's try to do that. Question, answer, reflection. Let's see if we can do that. A lot with the bow. A lot of this with the bow, a little bit with vibrato, but we're not super extroverted yet. I don't want to go crazy with the vibrato, so here we go. Okay, so now what happens? Well, we get our highest pitch right away. We do have a D flat in bar 5. Bar 6, we have a C, B flat, A flat. So we're coming down. So I might want to start now. Or maybe I want to make bar 2 a little bigger because there's more melodic motion. Maybe I want to try bringing that out instead. There's more of a melodic motion there. Let's try that one. again, a big challenge you might see with this is using the bow distribution. How much bow are we going to use where? And you really have to be careful to not overuse the bow on this. I'm not going to lie, there were a couple times I probably could have saved more. Right there. Okay, so I'm really saving, spending, and when you want to make up, so we have 4 eighth notes plus 2, play the 4 and then be very, very light and airy on the up bow, otherwise you're going to get this. Like you're going to get this big swell right away. So that is something to keep in mind. This Sarabande is very exposed, very delicate with the bow. And I could do a whole live stream on this movement alone, so I won't. But again, this idea of really listening to where the tension is. We're in C minor, so a lot of B naturals are going to be places of tension because it is the raised 7th of C minor. That's so crucial. Minor key, raised 7th of your scale. C minor, usually a B flat if you're in natural minor. If that is bumped up to a B natural, that's extra tension. So I'm going to play the beginning one more time, just to really feel this big arc, okay? Question? Second question? Resolution? Okay? Give you some ideas. All right, excerpt time, my dolls want an excerpt time. All right, I don't think I can do all of these, just given our time. Let's see. Beethoven 5. You gotta let me know. There's a couple famous excerpts. Movement 2 is the most famous Beethoven 5 excerpt, but there's also Movement 3. I think my excerpt book is not in this room, but I know where it is. I will get it at the speed of light, and I want you dolls to tell me Movement 3. Okay. So, could you tell me, great, okay. Wow, the chat is on fire. Y'all are doing great. I love the enthusiasm in the chat tonight. All right, I'm off to get my excerpt book, so I'll be right back. So, a lot of these tips that I am going to talk about is a lot of tips I've had working with both Stephen Gaber, who was the longtime principal in Cleveland, as well as Alexander Lacarme, who is section cellist of the Boston Symphony, both phenomenal cello players. So Beethoven. Ba-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. All right. So for that excerpt, a couple things. With any excerpt, any orchestral excerpt, all right, any orchestral excerpt, sorry, let me just find the excerpt because I am doing too much in my brain. All right, found it. Okay, so when you are practicing an excerpt, regardless of the excerpt, you always ask yourself, why was this excerpt picked? AKA, why is it difficult? What are the technical challenges? And what can I do that is going to exceed expectations? And what very interesting thing I heard from Alexander Lacarme of the BSO, he drew a Venn diagram, like a Venn diagram, 3 circles, and it was rhythm, tone quality, and intonation. And he said, if you can do all 3 of those perfectly in the middle of the Venn diagram, you'll get an orchestra job. Very valid. It's a very challenging thing, and you really have to be at 100% for a 5-minute audition and nail it. So first one is Beethoven 3. So Beethoven, third movement, Beethoven 5. Question in the chat, is Amir Paulo well known in America? I believe you mentioned they were a conductor? I'm not super familiar with the conducting scene in Florida necessarily. But again, I'm not a full-time orchestral cellist, so I might not be fully up to date. But I think it's amazing that you have a family member who is a conductor in Florida. That's incredible. I wonder if you've had a chance to see them conduct in concert. That would be huge. All right. So, Beethoven 5, movement 3. This movement has a feeling of being in one. Da 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 dum ba dum ba dum bum bum ba da 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 dum ba da da dum. So very consistent tempo is crucial. And here's the other thing. A lot of what will happen, you get nervous, you are at the tip of the bow, and you are, okay, it's in one. Like you're gonna hear mushy opening notes. That's the first trap, is those first 3 notes are not gonna be clear. Depends on what finger pattern you're gonna use. You could, that's a little adventurous for an orchestral fingering. Or you could do, let's see, you could even just, so, second position, you could do that. What you need to be very careful about, again, is clarity when you start. So I would really make sure you have your bow start at the tip. It is pianissimo. This is traditionally started up bow. So lean in with your weight. Raise that arm a little bit so you have you want a clear start. So I would just practice with a couple open Gs. See, some of them aren't quite. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. That's the other thing. When you get to the long notes, don't lose your pulse. A lot of people will hold them too long or too short. You got to keep that 1, 2, 3, dum, ba, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we got the first fermata. Again, you still want as clear of a start as before. Both of them are pianissimo, so okay, so there is a sforzando piano. Think of that as a lean, and then you immediately back off. It's sforzando piano. You have to go right back to piano right away. You don't, you got to immediately drop. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now, I do a pretty risky fingering going up the D string. I think it really helps to keep things very quiet. I know the intonation is a little more risky, but if you go up on the A string, make sure you are super, super, super quiet because it is the A string. It is really bright. Because keep in mind, this is another big tip for orchestral excerpts. This is so huge. Okay? When you have an orchestral excerpt, these dynamics are for the section. This is something that is kind of different from cello repertoire. This is not your solo dynamic. Now, again, sorry, I should say this is a subjective opinion on how I view orchestral dynamics. Some people might tell you differently, but keeping in mind it's pianissimo and there's going to be about 10 to 12 of you playing this in a section. So if you're pianissimo and 11 other cellists are pianissimo, it's going to sound mezzo piano, like a loud mezzo piano. So it is so important that you think of this as a section. So you are 1/12 or 1/10 of a pianissimo dynamic, because what I was playing was verging on 3, 4 pianos. All right. Next excerpt. I saw Brahms. This is my favorite excerpt to play, if it's the one I'm thinking of. Ba, da, 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 da. Brahms 2. I'm pretty sure it's Brahms 2. Yeah. Wait. Hold on. Da, 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 da. Brahms 2. So are you talking about, I'm assuming you're talking about the second movement. That's the most famous one. Because there is also an excerpt in the first movement. I'm just going to start with the second movement. Okay, second movement, cool. So this one is all about tone quality and sustaining your sound. This is a lush cello melodic moment. Beautiful, beautiful cello melody moment. And the big challenge here is the bow distribution and sustaining your sound, not you losing the quality nor the direction of your sound. You want your sound to be spinning, having variety. I try to use a slower vibrato. So you have room to open and speed up the vibrato as the phrase progresses. And the other thing that's huge in this one is really being careful where your hairpins are, because the hairpins don't always go up to the higher notes. It's very common to crescendo to the highest note in a phrase, but in this excerpt, the hairpins go beyond that and don't go to the highest note. So some people peak at the highest note and then they diminuendo, even though the crescendo is still printed. So be careful. Someone said, should I start learning so I can get co-principal? Yes. This excerpt, if you know this is on your list, then absolutely. It is a very common excerpt. You will play this a million times. If you are doing local orchestras or college level orchestras, like at a conservatory, you're going to play this excerpt all the time. So, the other thing too, that to be very careful, here's another trap. A lot of people play this like it's a powerhouse, and that's not what it is. A lot of people play it very, very like in your face, really loud right away, and it should have more of a blooming sound. This is Brahms, right? I always think Brahms is like deep dark chocolate. It's not like rich white chocolate. Like, it's very deep. It is deep. Oh, high schooler, that's fine. That's why I said local orchestras. Everyone just, not everyone. It's common for high schoolers to do local orchestras. Yeah, I did local orchestras in high school, and that's fine. Reach. Never a bad time to start prepping excerpts. Awesome. I like it. I like the dedication. I think that's awesome. So, you want to start with a lot of glow to your sound, not it's ba-da, not ba. It should be very bell. And I'm scooping with the bow to start, and I'm not doing a fast scoop. Not, if you do a fast scoop, you're going to get a rough accent. So, and this one, sustain at the tip, sustain at the tip, sustain at the tip. I can't say it enough. That's the top thing I think people are going to listen for in the opening of this. So I'm lifting my elbow a tiny bit to lean into the tip. So okay, so really listen to the ends of those bows. You always want it to be connected. See, really work on that shift. Loop every bow change at the tip. Loop every single one. Okay? Oh, and someone said, is it too late? Well, I don't know. It depends on when your audition is. But in general, it's never too early to start. That depends. It depends on how much you can practice and when the auditions are. But so every time you have a down to up, loop it. Loop that transition. Really smooth it out. Okay, so we played the first those are gentle scoops. Don't, not like that. Nice and gentle connected scoops. Now we have our big up-bow moments. Right there. Snap. You want that 16th note. This one, that B is huge. I know there's so many little intricacies in this. If you don't get that B is so important. So how do we practice? Lift the elbow, first and foremost, and put a big slide in it to start. So, blah, blah. Lift. If you slide, it's going to be a smooth connection physically. Yeah, I'm going to get to that. That's a great question. Someone said, what are your thoughts about subtle shifts? Well, for the exercise, we're not being subtle right now, but the goal is to be subtle in the end. You're going to have a slurpy slide if your shift is slow, but it's good to practice it slow, to lift, slide down. Oh, audible. Sorry. I saw subtle. I don't know why. Audible. So we'll get there. We'll get there. So once you're able to speed up the shift, you're not going to really hear it too much. But I would drill that B at least 5 times a day. At least. Because that's the top thing people miss intonation-wise is that B. Okay? And then now here, you don't want to be bumpy. Smooth, 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 smooth. Have a conversation between the 2 strings. Here's the big moment for those hairpins. Don't go so loud. The hairpin is just starting. A lot of that happens so much. You're at the bottom of your hairpin. I know the exciting part is coming, but you just started the crescendo. Don't give it away. Stay down dynamically. That is the peak of your crescendo, that F sharp. Not the B. A lot of people, and then they start diminuendoing and it's not written. Myself included. The reason I know a lot of these mistakes is I've made them in excerpt class. So, it's really hard to think you're doing it and then it doesn't happen. So, be careful. Really follow that hairpin. It's, we're still going. Another one. Go ahead, go. Okay, so really work on those hairpins. Plan your bow speed accordingly. Speed it up towards the top of the hairpin. Slow it down as the volume comes down. And then the final thing, and then I'll answer your question about shifting. You've been very patient, thank you. Right after that, we have a low part on our C string. We are accompaniment for the violins. The violins get the melodic moment now. So what happens a lot, like a lot of people really crank on that. I have marked poco forte, which means a little forte. So it's less. It's actually less poco forte, less forte, less loud. And you're accompanying the violins now. So I would really change the color. Do you go up the G string or shift back? Well, we're about to find out. So like, I always think of this part as like a deep, hefty, like wooden barrel. Not super extroverted, but deep with some body to support the violins. I go up the G string. You gotta practice it. There it is. And save your bow. A lot of people run out. Save. Spend. That wasn't the right bowing I usually do. Sorry. Okay. Cool. So that's the Brahms excerpt. Wow. How many? 12, 13, it's 15. 15 bars. Oh, that's interesting. That's kind of cool. 15. Usually we're used to seeing a number divisible by 8. I mean, you do have, I guess you have one more bar that leads into the next part. So it's still like, it's still 2 8-bar phrases, but anywho. Shifting. So I will say err on the side of subtle shifts. The reason why is because, again, you are auditioning to play in a section. And if 12 of you add a big glissando, let's say up to that B we were practicing, it's going to sound slurpy and a little messy because everyone slides at a different rate. Okay? And everyone, I am trying to keep my cool, but I see Mike Block has joined the chat. Mike Block, it's an honor. Hello. I'm a huge fan of yours. Welcome. We're doing Cello Tip Tuesday. We are talking about Brahms' second movement cello excerpt. For those of you who might not know, Mike Block is a member of the Silk Road Ensemble, an incredible crossover cellist, vocalist, specializing in all types of Americana music. Hi, Mike. Very good to see you here. We're working on some Brahms. So, yes. Brahms excerpt. Subtle shifts in orchestra. If you have 12 players sliding for an expressive shift at a different rate, it's gonna sound not great. So you can be expressive, but I would really err on the side of subtle. And I mean, if I were to pick one to do a tiny, subtle slide, expressive slide, it would be that high B. So you also have to pick and choose. It's very good to show adjudicator that you can shift expressively and then also turn it off and shift cleanly. So pick and choose your expressive shifts. When you have an expressive shift, make it subtle. Someone asked, who is the maker of my cello? Celli. So Celli is a very mysterious guy, unknown maker. There's no label inside of Celli. There never has been since I got Celli. Oh man, what year was it? I got Celli in 2009. So ever since I got Celli in 2009, there's been no label inside. Yeah, that's before I was born. Yeah, okay, youngin'. I'm just kidding. But no, the inside, no label. But if you know some instrument makers, also known as luthiers, based on the body shape and varnish color, it is possible for them to give you some clues on the origin of your instrument. So, based off of the varnish color and body shape of Celli's actually pretty small. Celli is, for those of you who don't know, my cello's named Celli, and it's like a private joke from my childhood. So, Celli is almost like a 7/8. Celli's pretty small, actually. And based off of the body shape, varnish color, it's of German origin, German cello, and then circa 1900, 1920-ish. That's all I know. Celli was found at an estate auction by a luthier I know in Boston. Kurt Bryant, if you need a cello and you live in the Boston area, Kurt Bryant is... Tell him Shoutout sent you, because the quality of what he has is incredible. So, great. Oh man, wait. Someone has a birthday? What? Why didn't you say so it was your birthday? What? Coming to this stream on your birthday. Extra brownie points for getting cello tips for your birthday. That's awesome. Oh, and yes, I am very happy it's your birthday. Cool. Oh, and another thing too, I forgot to mention this earlier. Mike Block, and I have something in common. We both own a Forte 3D printed cello. So if you want to check that out, it's a cello that's 3D printed. It's the first patented cello that is 3D printed. And I know Mike Block has been a huge advocate for this instrument, playing it all over. I have a couple videos on my page, but he's also been using it a lot in his concerts. So if you want to go check that out and listen to a 3D printed carbon fiber cello, go check out some of Mike Block's videos, because it's a really, really cool invention, and I really enjoy playing on it. So the Forte 3D printed cello is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, it's a really cool instrument to have. So yes. And it sounds great. That's the thing. The sound quality is quite impressive. Excellent. Well, happy birthday. That's awesome. Let's see. I think we have time for one more quick excerpt. All right, I'll talk about Don Juan. I'll talk about it. Demos are... That one I would definitely have to practice before a live stream, because this is probably notoriously one of the most difficult excerpts in all of the cello repertoire is Don Juan. So, Don Juan, yes, yes. Great. So, Don Juan, bow contact, bow contact, bow contact. This can sound very surfacey. The top tip for Don Juan, heavy bow arm weight. If your bow arm is floaty, which happens when we get nervous, a lot of people, I shouldn't say everybody and generalize, but it is a common tendency for the arm to come up when we get nervous, but you really got to practice being grounded and have your weight in the bow arm. Otherwise, it's going to sound like this. You're not going to hear any notes. It's not going to sound like anything. Also, if you use a lot of arm, because it says fortissimo, it doesn't sound great. Does not sound great. So, really, Efficiency is key. Even though a lot of stuff is happening in this excerpt, you really want to be efficient in your bow arm and your left hand. So, really connect over the string crossings. Breathe. So again, you can see my fingers are really swimmy for this one. Really swimmy. Stop the bow to re-articulate the triplet. Oh, you say you have to leave. That's okay. Live streams stay up after they air. So, okay, sounds good, my friends. Come back and watch the end of this stream. We're going to still work on Don Juan, and they stay up on YouTube. So, you can still watch it. Have a great concert. Good luck. Good luck, my friend. So, nice and swimmy with the fingers. Okay, so, da-da-da-da-da. Now, for those of you who don't know this excerpt, you have a 16th note rest before you start. You really got to feel that. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. E and a 2 E and a 3. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It has to sound like it's coming off of a rest. And you should relax. You should feel that in your gut. Oh, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay? So don't breathe and don't do this. No. Like deep in your belly. Deep in your belly. Feel that? Rest. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's an empowering breath before you start. So, you hear that? And I'm very efficient. Loose fingers. I'm not using my arm. I'm using wrist and fingers. So, okay? And the other thing you have to be really careful is that it doesn't sound like that. Just like what we were talking about with the Brahms, if you press too much and your bow speed is too slow, the tone is going to get crunchy. Sorry, it's like the best way I can visualize it in my head. Is if it's tight, it's going to sound nasally. You want it to have some seniority to it. And it's going to sound crunchy if you scrub with your arm and you have a light bow arm weight. So heavy, small motions. Top tip for Don Juan. There's a lot of left hand scales. I know I'm running a little over, but that's okay because one other thing too, for those of you who might not know about Don Juan is a confident womanizer. The very confident man, very sure of himself, and you have to play like that. If you are timid, it is not going to sound like Don Juan. So part of it too is, what is the character of this excerpt, right? If you're a little nervous, something like the Beethoven third movement, it actually serves you because it is timid. It's supposed to sound kind of soft and spooky and creepy. This one, nope. You have to be, even if you mess up, if you play with an air of confidence, it's going to have much more of the character of Don Juan. Now, right after the part I just played, there's a couple different fingerings for this giant run that is coming up. You can do it up the A string. Sorry. You can do it like that. Okay. You can do that. What I like to do, I sneak. I actually start on the G string, shift to fifth, and I use my thumb on E. Sorry, don't go to fifth. Hold on. Actually, no, you can do, well, 1-to-1 isn't great. Hold on. You guys, I haven't played these in years, so you gotta give me a little bit of time to remember. Go to 2, then maybe a 1. I do that. Sorry. D sharp. Very easy to forget. Don't forget the D sharp. The only thing is it's a little gummy, so you really... It's a little harder. You know what's weird is, I don't know if it's time and growth, but I actually play better on the A string. So I might change it back too. It's a little under tempo or a lot. I might actually stick with that. But if you find you're not comfortable with that kind of run up the A string, plant your thumb on E, and it's an E major scale up to B. E major scale. You have to make sure your thumb moves over for the A string, otherwise you gotta scooch it over to get that F sharp. And then other than that, A is a big moment, rehearsal, well in my part it's rehearsal A. You really want to make it sing melodically, air, crescendo, yeah, that's right, You don't want it, again, you don't want it to sound gruff, like a herd of elephants, and you want to have core to your sound. And that's what I'm going to end this on, because if there's one thing to take away from Don Juan, you need core. If it sounds surfacey, fuzzy, squeaky, nope. It's not as good as... So I would literally precision between every single note. Okay? And being efficient with the bow hand. Because honestly, here's the thing. Now, keep in mind, I did not pursue a professional career in a classical orchestra. I play in a lot of different genre crossover stuff. But still, what I find is if it's in tune, great. If the rhythm is right, excellent. If it sounds bleh, the other things don't really matter. Because the tone quality is so important. The tone quality is so important. And it needs to be pleasant to listen to. Tone quality is so crucial. So if that's your top your top focus for something like Don Juan that is very hectic, very fast, lots of rhythms, lots of left hand stuff, the tone quality can go into the back of our mind because we're so focused on shifting and all these rhythms. Start with tone quality first. Really get a strong foundation for that because, again, it needs to sound exciting and brilliant and fierce, but it has to have blooming core to the sound. You need to be deep in the string to get that. Be heavy with the bow arm. All right, I'm done. I promise. Wow, thank you so much for asking about orchestral excerpts today. To be honest, I was a little nervous. I haven't played orchestral excerpts in a while, and that's shame on me, honestly. Even though it's not, I love practicing concertos. I love practicing concertos, sonatas, cello suites, but these really demand technical chops. Really demand efficient, immediate technical chops. So I'm going to leave my excerpt book in this room. Now it's in the music room. Yay. And it's going to stay here. Hello. Thank you for the kind words. Oh my goodness. Thank you all so much. It's very kind of you. And y'all are awesome. Thank you so much. But yeah. Excerpts will really kick your butt. They really will. No, but honestly, I was a little nervous, but playing these makes me really nostalgic for when I was, playing these in college. And honestly, for those of you who are thinking about college or are in college, if you can, take an orchestral excerpt class. It's so helpful. Like, again, I knew pretty early I didn't want, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong. It's just not a good fit for me. And I've learned that over time. But again, I know some people who love it. And it's like a dream come true. They're in an orchestra, and I'm so happy for them. The reason I took this class, basically when it's your turn to play the excerpt, you get a mini private lesson from a cellist or whoever is running the class. You get a mini lesson. You get immediate feedback. They will immediately tell you what your tendencies are, and you get to practice being nervous. That's the whole reason I took an orchestral excerpt class in college. I said, I want to play for people, and I want to be terrified. I want to practice being terrified and playing things that scare me in front of people. Because when you are getting ready for an audition, it is so hard to replicate that feeling of truly feeling like I'm on the spot, I gotta perform right now. It's so hard to replicate that. So hard in a practice room, very hard to replicate it. So that's why I really took this class, was because I really wanted to practice like managing my nerves and playing things that were very difficult, but I knew were going to be rewarding to learn. And clearly it came in clutch because I had to play it for you all on this live stream today. So I ended up using it, which is great. Again, this was so fun. Thank you all so much for joining today's live stream. Celli and I will be back in December. And for those of you who have watched these in the past, I usually do a little holiday concert just to play some Christmas music and, make some instrumental live music accessible for people during the holidays. So watch out for announcements on that. If you're celebrating Thanksgiving next week, I hope you have a fantastic holiday. And yeah, I'll see you all next week. Sorry, not next week. That's what I say to my students, so that's... I'll see you all next month. And as always, you know what I'm going to say. Happy practicing, my dog.